Come be empowered with wealth building, positive energy that it changes, ignites, motivates, and pushes you to grow for success in your life and your finances. Moguling, you ask, what does moguling mean? Well, in 2014, I coined the term moguling. Of course, a lot of you all are familiar with the word mogul. So the word moguling derived from the word mogul. So put the ing at the end of moguling and turned mogul into an action word, and the word is moguling. And the definition of the word moguling is one with a relentless work ethic to grow, succeed with determination, motivation, and empowerment, to be relentless. Okay, you have to be relentless with a relentless work ethic to be moguling. So we want to empower each of you all out there to continue on your moguling journey. Be relentless in whatever you're doing. Just a little bit about myself, an overview. My name is Michael Coleman. I am the CEO and founder of MCS TV Network, which is we have a streaming platform, mcsstreaming.com, and I'm also the CEO and founder of mcslive.net, amongst some other companies as well, like michaeldecolemoney.com, which is a high fashion and luxury beauty brand that is doing super amazing. And at that time, that's a little bit about myself. I'm going to turn over to Carlo, and thank you, Khalif, for joining in with us today here at Moguling Talk for our section, Get Funding Your Business or Startup. Carlos.
Oh, yeah. Hey, give me 1 second. Good evening, everyone. Carlo Joseph, Clear Vision. Hold on 1 second.
All right, while you're holding, Carlos, I'm just going to go and keep talking until you get back on to keep all of our listeners entertained. Thank you, Khalif, for joining us today, where our amazing topic is get funding for your business or your startup. So I know a lot of you all are looking to obtain funding for your business or your startup, and you're trying to figure out, how do I get this funding? Who do I go to? Do I get the funding the traditional way, or are there other ways? So we're going to talk about that today. Go ahead, Carlos. He's back.
Oh, yeah, I'm back. Yeah, good evening, good morning, or good afternoon, wherever people are around the world listening in. Yeah, Carlo Joseph. I'm with Clear Vision, Clear Path. We fund, we create, we advertise, and we distribute, not marketing, entertainment content. So film production, television production, apps, entertainment technology. So we provide funding for different businesses, from startups to companies that's been around for 30, 40, 50, or 100 years, income producing companies. So with this segment of business funding, I would like to jump right in and address, me and Mikhail have discussed this. There's just different ways to get funding, and the traditional way, and what we talked about a segment before, and just partnerships as well. But I think business funding is what works for the individual business model and the individual business plan, and what aligns with the goal that determines who the funding's for. And me and Mikhail discussed this earlier, of how when you get in a business, your funding is more used to take you to another level. So you look at the funding more to multiply and add to the business. So you use your funding to grow the business and bring in more, versus where traditionally people work, or they use the money to pay bills or cover expenses, where in which is a twofold process. The funding is also for expansion, so it's to maintain where you're at, or and also to expand and grow. So the example that I gave to Mikhail today is how you use a small amount of money to bring in a larger sum of money. And he used the example that today about generating income through the different revenue streams and expanding, your clientele and generating income that way. So I'd like Mikhail to expound a little more on the different funding sources and funding aspects for people that are looking for funding through their business.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that amazing introduction, Carlos, and the amazing information that you just provided. Absolutely. So I'm going to get more on some of the amazing things that Carlo mentioned about the funding aspect. So as we're talking today, we're talking about the aspect of how to bring in that funding. So, of course, the traditional way is that we go to a bank and we ask the bank for a loan. But of course, the bank sometimes they're gonna want to know, do you have collateral, or what's your credit score like, and of course, how much money you're earning annually to secure that loan that they're looking to give you. Other ways is that you can go to private lenders. As you all heard, Carlos, he is a funding company. They fund a lot of projects. So that would be considered something like a pretty much a private lender. You go to a private lender who has a bulk of revenue and they loan the money out. They do it in a few different ways. It can be as a loan, it can be as a line of credit, or it can be utilized as a we call a revolving uh, purchase based on your purchases that your company is doing. Let's say, for example, you have a business like we have a clothing line, michaeldaycoleman.com. And let's say we went to a private lender, financial like Carlo Joseph, and um, they just let's say $5 million. What we would show is that our company is generating, over let's say $200,000 uh, every week in sales. And Carlos' company would look at our financial reports or our bank statements and say, hey, based on what you all are generating each and every week, which is roughly almost $1 million a month, yes, we'll look at the aspect of giving you $5 million, or if they don't decide to loan us $5 million, they may come back and say, hey, listen, you're generating about close to $1 million a month. What we will do, we will fund you for um, 1 million to match that. And what they typically do is be like short-term loans, long-term loans, or they can be just based on the revenue you're generating. So some companies, funding companies, they may come up with an agreement with you, and they may say, for example, okay, we'll loan you this money, we'll deposit the money in your account in the next 24 to 48 hours based on your bank statements. And they may take out money um, every day, or they may do it once a week or once a month. It's just based on the agreement and the terms that they're looking for. So there are so many amazing private lenders out there that can definitely help people to go to that next level based on, like Carlo mentioned, what's your goal, how you're aligning, and the funding is meant to get you to the next level. I know a lot of people may be looking at, what, I'm gonna get this funding, pay some bills off. This is not what business funding is for. Business funding is to help you elevate and expand to the next level. So you want to definitely have your business plan laid out. You want to definitely have you one thing I love myself and Carlo talk about is a sheet, which is a use of funds sheet to have laid out to know exactly how you're going to execute the revenue that you receive. Because and the use of funds is structure is really for you to know, hey, once you get this revenue, this is what's going to be executed from A to Z all the way down. So I hope that was great information for you all out there listening. Carlos?
Oh, yeah, no, that was excellent. I put it in the chat. I wanted to touch on the other side of lending. I mean, not lending, on the other side of funding. So what I'm going to do is just give examples of things that our company does and our company has received funding from. And number one, from a private investor. So that's basically, it could be an individual or it could be a company. And what they do, they will invest into your business based on the business model, um, which is the business plan. So how the business operates. So say you have a talk. I said that they have a company here called Moe's or Willie's, and their business model is burritos, burrito bowls, things of that nature. A simple model. So just generated off of that. So they'll invest and say you wanted to buy, say, 10 of those. So the investor would basically offer your projections, offer your plan, and offer what you're currently doing. So 10 times, let's say the company's making, I don't know, say 5 million a year or 10 million a year. So it would be 10 million times 10, so like 100 million. So private investors typically they can do equity, which would be just a percentage of the company's net revenue and ownership of the company, or they can do like we call convertible notes, like debt, where like I have a deal now where it's 3% convertible note, and the exit could be after 5 years we pay them back the money, say 5 million plus the 3%, or they can convert it into equity where they take an equity share in the company. So just like when a company goes public and say our company's worth like 500 million, they would own 3% of the shares, which would be 1% of $500 million. I want to say, I wish somebody who know, 50 million is 10%. So 1% would be like 5 million. So for a 5 million investment, if we went public and the valuation's 500 million, they would make like, their shares would be worth $15 million. So they made three times their money or two times their money. So the private investors work that way. And then we have the equity investors or the institutional investors. They're like the bigger companies like hedge funds, mutual funds, private equity funds, pension pension funds, any company that has to do billions of dollars and invest billions of dollars. They're more on a longer term play, and their interest rates are lower, like 2%, 5%, because they get involved in deals where they preserve capital. And it's the same principle, because I discussed this with Mikhail. They go off of the financials, but they have to be a detailed financials, and they go off of the plan, and they go off of the principles, but more so the financials. So those are two examples of money that any business can get if the business, but the private investor and institutional investor, if they agree with your business model and your business plan, basically where you are now and where you're going. And this doesn't require credit. It doesn't require debt. In exchange, it requires a solid business model, solid business plan, executive summary. And for the higher tier dollar amount, it requires some really good financials. And that's what I discussed with Mikhail, that I want to say 2 years ago. A group, they were going to get our company like $2 billion from an institutional fund. And one of the guys, they were Merrill Lynch, and another one was Northwestern Mutual. And so they were going to present, and they loved our business plan and our slate and our business model. So they wanted the financials done a certain way for the institutional investors, because they have analysts and they have people that look at the financials and they look at the industry, and that determines the risk factor, and that basically lets them know to invest. So a lot of companies, I want to say there's 20 different ways to get funding, not just the traditional credit way, not just the traditional collateral way, and not just the traditional debt way. It's still, and then joint venture funding still comes down to both of you guys become partners. So that's more like a partnership where one of you guys are operating a business and the other partner brings the money, whether to keep pay all the, like payroll, marketing, insurance, legal, pay all the like the working capital, operating capital, and then also put up money to expand or grow the business, or open different locations. So there's different ways that work for different individuals, and it comes down to which one is feasible for your company, your vision, and helping you guys get to your goal. So they're all correct. It's just which works for who. And I can expound on this, Miguel. Since we do like entertainment, it's harder to take the debt route. And follow me with this, everyone. There's companies that do it, but what they do, we have a structure where some companies get an insurance bond, and that collateralize the money, and then they'll invest in something that's non-collateralized, like an IP investment, which would be like a movie or a television show or technology, things of that nature. So it's not your traditional like brick and mortar shop, or like what is some of these e-companies, businesses that are online or whatnot. So there's many, many, many ways to get funding, but the first thing tell all business people, and Mikhail touched on, is have a use of funds. Basically, just count what it costs you to live, what it costs you to carry the company's operating expenses, and have that, and then what it will cost for you guys to go to the next step or the next phase. So you can get capital for both, but you have to have a clear, defined goal. And that just comes down to writing everything down. First, it's like know where you at, know what you need, and know what you, after you get what you need, just show what you're going to do with it that will pay everything back, and then grow the business 10 times as far as revenue and income, while still maintaining payroll and insurance and all the other business expenses and overhead.
Well,
I mean, you could take it over.
absolutely well said. So, Carlo, I want to jump in and ask a few questions.
Yeah, go ahead.
You're talking about funding. So what about the new entrepreneur who's just starting up their company?
Mhm.
They may not have the necessary financial statements because they're a brand new company and a startup company. Are there programs that can help someone who's have a startup in their business for funding?
Yeah, most definitely. That was an excellent question. See, and I want to, and now I just got to get into it. That's the majority of the companies that are successful now, that are big now. They had investors come in the pre-revenue seed round, like concept, idea. You just There's investors that look to be a part of that. There, it's like everything, there's pros and cons. So the positive is, yes, there's people that can help those people. The only downside is that they'll ask for more equity, and all that means they'll ask for more ownership percentage in the company, because they're like the first, say your first 20,000 or first 50,000 or your first 10. Those are those people. So they want to have a more, I'll say anywhere from 20 to maybe 50% ownership in the company. So as you grow to a phase, like you guys understand pre-revenue, that means no money's coming in. Like it's just fresh start, right?
Yes, yeah, I
It
understand that.
has yeah. So just like what you said for the like they start day one type of thing. Yes, the answer is yes. But again, it still comes down to you have to write down what you're gonna do. If you just need a, a office space or a storefront, write that down. If you need what, say it's a restaurant, you just need, say you're gonna have 10 tables and four tables for chairs, like what, 40 people write that down. Just you're still going to have to write down what you see and what you're going to do, and then just start counting some costs, like doing the things, like, let's go common sense. Like when you find out you want to go somewhere, you got to go to some function, or whether it's a wedding or somewhere, you find out how much it's going to cost for the shoes, the outfit. That's still the basic stuff, no matter what. First we got to know what we're going to need, and the money will come. But then there's a great point, Mikhail. It always comes down to the terms. So the entrepreneur just starting out, if he or she agrees to the terms, the money, that's it, and they agree to the agreement, the money will come to them. It's just those terms, and this is the number one thing I forgot to tell everyone. Everything's negotiable in business. That's why it's called an agreement or a contract, because it's where do you guys agree. They're going to put the money in exchange for your future revenues, in exchange for what you're going to become and do in the future. How much of that are you willing to share with them? That's all that comes down to. I hope I answered the question.
Absolutely, yes, you definitely did. That was amazing answer, Carlo Joseph. Very insightful information for those out there who, you're brand new. You just started.
Yeah,
You have no funding. You're trying to get funding. So he mentioned, you know, uh, those
yeah,
companies,
they're called seed investors.
investors,
Yeah,
yeah, angel investors, seed investors.
angel. Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
excuse me, Kill. I mean, interrupt. Just like on the West Coast, like I'm in Georgia, right? And you got everybody should be familiar with Silicon Valley. That whole, as rich as they are, that is all they do. There's so many startups. So that's what I wanted to envision in Georgia, because there's there's people that need more than the money, but like you said, for the people that need the money to get it, there's people that do it pre-revenue. It's just like you said, you started off with the banks. These are people that's it's like a guy. I remember one time he said he invested like 5 grand, and then by the time he cashed out, he made like 500,000. But he invested into, a brand new company or 15. There's guys that do that all day long. But again, they're comfortable in that space because, you know, if they invest in 10 startups and only and two of them do well, you know what I mean? It's a home run for them because when they hit, they hit big. So when the company exit or grows or somebody else comes and infuses more capital, they make their money back like 10 times or more. But again, the other side, just like anything, there's a risk that the company fails. That out of the 10 companies, say 7 of them don't work out. They understand that. So but they've been very successful. I think we discussed this because they've had more wins than losses. So for every level of funding, because then there's people that fund you when you're in the growth stage that gives you, 10, $20 million. And then there's companies that fund you when you're in the middle of growing further than that. They'll give you anywhere from 50 to 100, $200 million. Then there's companies that'll give you when you're getting really, really big, like billions of dollars, two, three, $4 billion. So at all levels, companies, when you first start out, they give you 0 to like 20 grand, 25 grand. So the answer, yeah.
Awesome. I love
Yeah.
it. So another question for you, Carlo. Going back to this aspect. Someone starting, they have uh,
Mm-hmm.
no revenue to start their business, but they can go and get angel investors. Now, what about the aspect of them going to work for another company that's in similar to what they're doing
Mm-hmm.
to to create a partnership or to be able to educate themselves, like teaming up with another company who's already there, but going and volunteer your service and let
Okay.
people know that, hey, listen, I desire to do this similar business that you're doing. I would love to volunteer my time to work with you all and learn, this business. What would you say about that aspect of that
That's
partnership aspect of, trying to obtain some funding by lending your services? Sometimes you have to, lend your service to a company or
mhm.
who's already there uh, to help them. Then you'll be able to get your funding. What do you say in that regard?
Well, that's more so like interning. I mean, wisdom is the key to everything. Wisdom is the principal thing. So I see the aspect of them gaining experience. I see the aspect of the servanthood, them serving, and also it's like seed time and harvest, sowing and reaping. So they're sowing their services, so they'll reap those type of employees that want to help their business grow. So, of course, building a relationship where, yeah, they could get funding from a company that they served at or interned at. And again, it could be just a strategic partnership as well. That could be one of their vendors or one of their resources. Because, and I'll give you a good example. Because you're saying about them working, um, hold on one second, working for them. That is true. Hold on one second. That is true, Mikhail.
Mm-hmm.
That is true because you know what has ended up happening? I look at it like a joint venture. Them working for a company that's established, has been around there and done that, and they strike a strategic partnership, they could leverage that relationship to get funding, or they could leverage that relationship to put them down as a reference or somebody they've done something for, and that will get them funding. So it's different angles, just like especially with business credit, and I need to say this to everyone. Business to business, B2B, business to business relationships are a lot easier and a lot different than consumer to business relationships. So other businesses work with one another. It's so many benefits. So to answer Mikhail's question, yes, because it's even when you're applying for business credit, and there's certain things you can get if you have, 3 to 4 references of people that you're already doing business with, and they'll extend money to you that way, or extend services to you.
Absolutely. I want
Credit. you know.
I want to add to that, Carlo, when you were speaking.
Yeah.
There, a prime example of what you're saying, leveraging your relationship or working for a company. I cannot think of the gentleman's name, but he worked for Google, and he was
Mm-hmm.
a developer on Google Maps. So he ended up starting a company. I wish I could think of it at the very moment. He ended up starting a company.
Mm-hmm.
Google backed his company because he had already
Yeah.
would built a relationship. He was already developing Google Maps. So
Mm-hmm.
when it came time for him to start his company, he Google backed him. So that's a prime example right there.
Oh
Uh,
yeah. No, no, you when you were on it, I just wanted to make sure I could paint the picture, make it
yeah,
clear for people.
yes,
And see, because you know the beauty of what we're discussing today and the beauty of every entrepreneur and everybody listening, it's like we have the next, like, everybody sees as big started off the same way. That's the part, and everybody had different journeys and different stories, whether it was failure, success, but they all start off the same way, pre-revenue. Everybody started off with their idea and their plan and no money at first.
yes,
But the vision and the plan, I always get on the plan and the vision and writing down, because that will start pulling. That will let you. That'll kind of, if you line up 20 or 35 funding sources, it was like your vision and your plan and where you want to go and how you want to do it will align you with the right funding people. It's almost like you sitting at a table, and say it's like a funding fair. That's probably one thing we should do, where you bring a whole bunch of people that have money and different vendors that lend and directly to businesses, whether startup, pre-revenue, been around 3 years, 4 years, been in business, um, revenues of $10 million a year to $100 million a year, revenues over $1 billion, and you put them all in the room, right? And and it's unlike a job for the funding fair, they're looking for stuff to fund, and so the people that need capital interview them, and then whoever aligns with what each person is doing, like they'll tell their terms, the people with the money would tell their terms, and the people that need the money would see if that's a good fit for them, and at the end they'll just like connect with each other, and then the rest would be history, because somebody would stand up and say, hey, I'll do all companies, I'll fund anywhere from, say, zero, I'll fund anywhere from 5,000 to 50,000 on pre-revenue companies, any type of business, right? Then some people are like, well, I'll lend to companies, but they have to be in business 2 to 3 years, and they have to bring in at least $20,000 a month. Just, you get what I'm saying? Or some companies say, hey, we'll lend over $100 million, but they have to bring in like $30 million a year. You get where I'm coming from,
absolutely.
Mikhail? So it could be lenders, investors, but they're kind of pitching what they have, their criteria, their terms, and then they align with the entrepreneurs that fit, and entrepreneurs align with them. I think that would be excellent. Now they have all kind of fairs, but they should have a funding fair.
Absolutely. Well, that's something we're gonna definitely talk about more, and we're
Yeah,
gonna work.
because it's people with money. Look, I'm living proof. People, like, I'll say this to everybody listening. There's billions and trillions of dollars around the world, because we haven't got to this, Mikhail, so let me just jump into it. They're looking to invest in businesses. They are looking to invest in companies. But you have to get to the phase where you have something written to present. Mikhail, I say the same thing. The executive summary, the pitch deck, the business plan.
Hmm.
And I'm gonna say this, the financial projections. That means it's sort of like when we look at the weather report and they say it's going to rain. There's a, what is it, 30% chance, 20% chance it's going to rain this afternoon, or rain Tuesday, Thursday. They're just giving you a projection. Now, so if it's sunny all them days, you'd be happy. You just got your umbrella. But it's like, they always say that. But it's the same thing in business. Your projections are exactly what they are. It's a forward speak. You're speaking into the future. If you have A, you're going to do B, and you're going to end up with C. And the A is the money from the investor, and C is what you're going to do with it and the plan. I mean, not C. B is what you're going to do with it, the plan, and your growth plan, and then C is the result. So there's plenty of money, and the money's looking for the people that's listening right now. But it's just certain things they have to have made available, even if a stranger they're gonna want to see something in writing and see what you're doing, even if it's a one sheet. And I think that's what I've seen with so many. There's people in business that don't have a business plan. They just, they just started going with it.
Yes, that's true. Yeah.
You got pizza shops, I can name them. There's a bunch of places like that.
Yes,
You know what I'm saying? But it's just, they got a good system. People like the product. They come over and over again, and it's what it is. That's it.
absolutely. So you said mentioned something. They have a good system, but what if they
Yeah.
took that system? So let's say they have
Mhm.
one piece of shop, and they have
Mhm.
a good system, and they're working that system. They're doing okay. They got one shop, but in order for them to scale that business,
Mhm.
that system to the next level, and what go from one shop to having 10 shops and 20 shops,
Mhm.
they're gonna have to what take
Right
what
there.
and put it into a plan,
Yeah.
and
That's it.
so that others can execute that same thing
Mhm.
that they're able to do effortless. You can train someone else to do it, and you can go from one store to 20 stores. Let me give you all a prime example, Carlo, and everyone
Mhm.
who's listening. This is an amazing example. I live in Hollywood, California, and
Mhm.
there's a gentleman. His name is David. About 4 years ago, in 2018, he started what it's called Angry Chicks. It's a Nashville hot chicken. He started one store. Okay? One store. I can say this right here because I was there and I witnessed it. I remember talking to David in 2018. I said, "David, man, the food is amazing." I said, the food is amazing. Man, I said, how come you won't go ahead and expand? I said, you working super hard here, you know? And he said, man, I just like to do everything myself. I said,
Mhm.
a great product. I said, all you gotta do, David, is get you some good managers in place and just trust your managers to lead. Don't you know from 2018 to now, just a few days ago, David opened up his 20th location,
Mhm.
20 stores in 4 years. All,
Mhm.
all because I felt like God led me to say, hey, listen, man, you got an amazing product.
Mhm.
Just trust your people. And he did it. 20 stores in 4 years.
Mhm.
Amazing. They are through the roof doing amazing. So I want to say, listen, everyone who's listening, you may have a system out there. It's working for you. But take that system you got, write it out, turn it into a plan, and allow others to execute it. Turn your business, your small business, to a franchise.
Mhm.
Get you, investors will come in. Investors will
But you
definitely.
heard what you said. You told him to trust his. And that's another thing. Me and you haven't touched on it. You told him to trust his managers, and that's another.
Yes,
Okay, when if everybody listening should understand, the minute you start writing stuff down, it'll be easier for people to follow it. And then, of course, if you got to train them, if they got to see it and get reps in doing it. But you just said something so powerful. You told him to trust his team. Remember, he said, "I just like to do everything myself." So many entrepreneurs and so many people have that mindset or concept at first. The 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 reality is the company we do bigger and better because there's going to be other people that does things better than you. And I know that's hard for some people to swallow because the people that think, well, um, everything works better when I'm doing it. That's true, but it'll work even better if you have people that you trust and empower them to execute it. And you will service more people because you're one person. If you had to service a million people, it would be tough. But if you got like 10,000 people helping you, it'd be a lot better. You hear
that's
what I'm saying? And so you gave him the piece he needed because obviously he had a good, like you said, good product, and he had a good system. And it's like making copies. All he had to do is duplicate it, and it's really simple. The more and more we can empower other people, the more and more we can trust other people, and the more and more we can be clear on our plan, clear on our vision. And I'm gonna stop, and this goes right back into business funding. And Mikhail, you know this. Do you know, like, and we talked about it before we came on about mastering the thing. Remember, you said, "Oh yeah, I was thinking about that when I told you." I was like, one thing I mastered is just that everybody that pretty much invests and want to fund, they all look for the same things. They all look. So that's the part about that it clicked when you said. I was like, wow, I got to tell them that they look for the same things. The business doesn't matter. It's just that, do you have these particular things? And then yes, they're gonna release the money, no problem.
Absolutely, and you're so right about that. Yeah, they do. They want to see a what I call a a track record. You know, even
Hmm.
a very small track record is still a track record showing that you have these things in place. And for those who are starting your business or may have your business or you already operate, you want to go through and make sure that you are, implementing, every step in your business. If you're operating a small business and you don't have an LLC or you're not incorporated, I'd strongly, advise for you all to definitely become incorporated with an LLC or sole proprietor or INC. Um, so this is going to
Yeah,
provide.
you're supposed to explain what an INC is. I mean, you got to tell them it's a tax ID.
Absolutely. Go ahead, Carlo. I'll allow you to explain those areas.
You're fine. Basically, what Mikhail's saying is that it's three simple things I think everybody should do. You incorporate your company. That means you register with the Secretary of State, wherever state you in. There's a fee, and you decide what business structure you want, whether it's a corporate entity, Corp C or Corp S, and it's different based on what kind of tax ramifications you want. Then it's limited liability, limited partnership, and then sole proprietors. So that's and then also nonprofits. That's all Mikhail was saying. And then you just get a tax ID with the with the IRS for your business. So that's like the Social Security with that business. And then the third thing is you get a bank account, you know, in the name of the business, and then just basic stuff. And the next step, a website, just simple things. But the main thing, and people, and it's like I hear somebody, well, how do you do that with no money? Well, just start by write down this, do what you could do without the money. So, and I'll just say this to everybody. I'm about to just go. I'm about to take the gloves off.
Hmm.
The bottom. No, no. Let me say this, Miguel. The bottom line to getting funded is knowing how much you need and writing it down. We could just start right there, like a line item. And I know everybody's going grocery store shopping, but then there's the people that go in there with no list and they go in there and buy everything but the thing they came to get. Then there's the people that go and they have a list and they stick with that list and they come out with everything they wanted. It's the same way we're getting funded. You're going to get the money that you wrote down what you need the money for, period. We could just end the show with that. Just move on. That's the simplest thing right there. Do you know how many people, Mikhail, we laugh, right? Remember I told you I asked you to do the same things they asked me to do?
Yes.
Kids, we could do this with children. And it's really simple because it's not how much the person got. They're coming to fund you on what you need. But if you don't know what you need, then it's like you want to ask for 40,000, you need 4 million, and you want to ask for 4 million when you only need 40,000. Like the phase you in right now only requires 40,000. You get what I
Right.
mean?
Exactly.
And you want to ask for 40,000 when you need 40 million. You get where I'm coming from? And it still comes down to each individual. I don't care if you're in the negative or you got hundreds and billions of dollars. You're still gonna have to write down what you're gonna do with that money. That's the first. I mean, we could just stop right there.
That's true. Absolutely. But we're not going to stop it. We got some more
Yeah,
to give out. So let me, while you mentioned that, Carlo,
I gotta say no.
uh,
Stop right there.
we got a few more
Go ahead,
moments
Miguel.
to keep sharing with the amazing people who are listening in from all over the world. So, Carlo, any in your company, you all provide funding. Do you all deal with, startups or small
Oh
businesses,
yeah,
or you got
most
large business?
definitely. We deal with both, and I'll discuss it. Like, I believe in the startups, and I believe in the people that have goals. Because I taught like all the real good entrepreneur, and then we deal in entertainment, which is very risky. Because you know this, okay? It's either you've done shows and whatnot. It shows where people showed up, and it shows where nobody showed up, and it showed the ticket sales were good, the ticket sales were bad. So you understand, but the show must go on. So it's the same thing in entertainment. It's either it worked or it didn't. That means for the people listening, either you made money on the investment or you didn't. You made money on the tour or you didn't. You made money on the film or you didn't. The TV show got picked up or got sold or it didn't. So yes, we do startups and we do invest in existing companies and buy out existing companies that already generate revenue, and that balances out investing in the startups. So the startups, we look for the basic things, because especially when it comes to entertainment, anything creative or any business, I look at the same. Entrepreneurs are bringing something to the public that the public needs, but they don't know they need it yet. So that's the beauty of entrepreneurs. They live in the future. So they bring the present, they bring the future to the present, and the people that eventually need that service. I'll tell this to all them entrepreneurs. Every idea you have, somebody needs it. Somebody, no matter what, maybe not the people around you, maybe not the people you know, maybe none of your customers but somebody on the planet needs it, or you wouldn't have had that idea. So your job is to find out who your market is or who you're talking to, because they're looking for it. So to answer your question, we do startups, like I call them pre-revenue companies.
Absolutely. And Carlo, can you give everyone your company name
Oh
and
yeah.
Instagram or website so that they
Oh
can.
yeah. It's the company name is Clear Vision, Clear Path Inc. So the website is Clear Vision, Clear Path. You made me forget it, .com. Clearvisionclearpath.com. Yeah, so that's the Instagram. The Instagram is Clear Vision Music LLC, and the website's on the Instagram. But that's our music side of the business. And Mikhail, can we talk to them about some of the funding strategy that we got, or you want to just leave that alone?
Um, we can. We can share
Wh-
some of.
Yeah, see, when I say strategy, some of the structures, because we talk about this.
Yes,
Okay, so all right,
let's give them all the nuts and bolts because I think that people need to um, hear about these deals that are that are
yeah,
already in motion, so they know that hey, it's live. It can be done. It is being done. So absolutely, let's share.
yeah.
And then
Some
I'll
of the richest, some of the richest people. I need to tell everybody this. They need to know. You know, people, money needs to like money is like anything else. It needs something to be put into to grow. So just like you need funding, people with money need something to invest in to grow their money. So it's like a win-win. I just think people, when they need money, they don't think they're bringing something to the table. You are. You bring, if a person gives you like 100,000 investing in a business, and that business ends up being worth 10 million, and say they own like 10% of that 10 million, you just help them make $1 million by supporting your company or your startup or your business. So the value is in these entrepreneurs, because you guys are like the next big whoever worldwide companies. So this is what everybody hears about, but this is how it starts. It starts with startups. It starts with everybody listening, and their company grows and gets big and goes public, and they're like, oh, they're all billionaires. Yeah, but it started like right now how we're talking.
absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, companies are valuable. Everybody on here has something of value. That okay, when people say I don't want people to steal my idea, remember I told you, Mikhail, they
Hmm.
wouldn't steal it if it wasn't what?
Valuable.
That's another thing. Yes, the people that keep their stuff under lock and key, yes, it's valuable. That's how you know somebody wants it. Yes, it's valuable. And I'm saying this. There's a lot of people on listening. They have $100 million companies right now.
Yes.
They don't even know it.
Hmm.
And then we got some of their companies gonna be worth over billions of dollars, like
Yeah.
ASAP, not like long drawn out. Because of technology and because of the times, this is the perfect time. But then we need people that have, and you know what I'm talking about when I keep saying writing everything down. We need people that have visions and have plans and missions that other people can follow. Because a money person, they understand you need money. So you're 90% there. Now the 10% is you making it clear what you're doing, how much you need, how long before you grow, and what's the potential of them making off of the money they invest with you. Real simple. You know what I mean? I think I got off track. But yeah, we'll go into a few of the structures that we have. I'll start with like, say, we have some filmmakers that need like $10 million or more, or television producers that have series that need $10 million or more. We typically, our company would look at the script, we'd look at the people they want to hire. What that basically means to everybody listening, if you have a really good story or script, then the money allows you to go get like the best director and then the best lead actor, supporting actor. That's really what it is. So that's what the money, I'll say 80 or 90% of money goes into that. And then the other 20 or 30, 20 to 10% goes into the actual production, the crew and the cast. Because with film and television, it's about the talent and the story and then who's directing. So our structure is real simple. On the film side, we put up all of the money and we get our recoupment. That basically means when the film's produced, advertised and put in theatrical release or sold to, a studio or whatnot, and we get paid our money back first, I think plus 15%, and then we split 50/50 all the residual income for the life of the film or the project. That's pretty much it, or for whatever set time we agree. And that's one structure. And then another structure is sort of where, if companies have some capital, I'll just use this one. We'd fund, if they had 10% of the money liquid, then we'd fund the other 90% of it. I mean that hasn't I mean, we
Hmm.
do that, but and then we have the other one where we just take anywhere from 20% equity, or that means equity ownership in the company. So if we fund you, we just want 20% of the company
Mm.
until you, and so you can just pay you, and you can buy us out at 25, like, so you can buy us out. So if we gave you $2 million, and then say 5 years or 3 years or 10 years down the road, you just buy us out. So it was a 2.5 million, I think, or just whatever we agreed to on the buyout, or if the company gets sold, or so we gave 2 million, but the company got sold for like 200 million. So our 20% would be worth like 40 million. So it's basically that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it with me, I keep our company. We like it to keep everything simple. And I'll just have to say this to Mikkel. It becomes easier when you partner with entrepreneurs that basically just know what they want to do. That's basically it. Know how much they need, know what they're going to do with it, and know what they want to accomplish. It becomes easier. And then they could put it in writing.
Yes.
So it's not the money. It's, you, because I talked to somebody today. This was funny, Miguel. We started off, she was talking about 10 episodes. So we started off at about like, I think 200 grand an episode. And then as we started talking more, then it went up to 300,000 an episode. So, but then she said something very interesting. Watch this, Mikhail. She was basically saying once we did it, say at 3,000 episode, which would be times 10, which would be 10 episodes, and say then we could go to Showtime or say HBO and sell it for $1 million an episode. So that would be like $10 million, and then we spent three to make it. So we would get seven, right? I mean,
Yes.
so they pay us back. So they pay us back our 3 plus 15%. Then we would split that. What's 15% of $3 million is 450
Yes.
thousand. Yeah, something like
15.
that. So we split that 600 in. You gotta help me out, Mikhail. 600 and what's that? 55. Yeah, yeah. 600 and 600. We split that $6,550,000, 50/50, and that's a great deal. You know what I'm saying? So, but her concept was simple. There's, just the money would be used to produce and get the some A-list talent mixed in with some unknown talent, and then the eggs would be either to sell it, or, and then she talked about our distribution being able to get on our streaming service, and I have a plan for that. So. And just some, entrepreneurs got it when you listen to them. That's why I love talking to them. But then it's like, if you when I write it down, because I do consulting, so I take what they say and I put it in a one page format and I'll show it to them. I say, "This is what you're saying," and then we can put it in front of anybody and they get it and they be ready to give them the money. They just don't write what's in their head. So I just know how to pull it out because those are the pieces that the people need to know. You get where I'm coming from, Miguel?
Absolutely, absolutely. So
So,
let's go back and let's recap before we close out on some things for everyone who's listening in. And then we're going to also point you all to some direction where you all can get some funding, okay? Because you're listening to Moguling Talk right here at the Moguling Club. Get funding for your business or startup. I know you all say, hey, where do I get funding from? Well, once I mention this right here, I'm going to let you all know. I'm going to direct you where to go and where you can apply for funding. And that's with also with Carlo Joseph and also Moguling Capital as well. And
oh
also
yeah.
have a list of other companies who provide funding for you all to obtain as well. So go
Well,
ahead. Have to say something?
no, yeah, I was about to say, Mikkel, what you could do is like have them reach out to Moguling Capital or reach out to us and let's talk to them. And then, it's like sit down and find out what their needs are, what they have going. And then either we can fund them or we could decide where to send them. And we could find out because it's everybody's in different places. We know that.
Yeah,
Some people have revenue, some people have some money, some people don't have any money. Some people start, some people have money, but they need more money, like what you got with that did the 20. They need more money to scale or grow quick. You know what I mean? So they need money for expansion. So everybody's at different places and everybody has different things. But everyone has one thing company. Their company is bringing value. Some have the tangible jet value, like they got revenues and tax returns and all. Some people have it all, and then some people don't have anything. They just have, I want to do this, and this is how much I need. So that's why I think you should like point them to you, and then we respond to them, and then help them get funded ASAP. We
absolutely.
fund them, or we send them to somebody else to get funded.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that,
The
Carlos.
fit that fit like I said, that's tailored to their situation because everybody's situation is like a tailored suit. It's customizable to what they have and what they need, or what they don't have and what they need to get
Absolutely.
funded.
Absolutely. And for those out there who are looking for funding, you all can reach out to us at Moguling Capital. You can please follow at Moguling Investment on Instagram. So on IG, you can follow at Moguling Investment. Give us a follow on there. Submit us a DM directly. If you you know are requesting funding, we will set up a phone call with you. So put your phone number in there and DM us at Moguling Investment, and we'll get on the phone and we'll try to get you all some capital. And if the structure doesn't fit what we're able to offer, we will point you to a list of all of our other funding partners as well. We will get you some funding. So just reach on Instagram at Moguling Investment and just for Moguling Capital. And we're here to help you all to expand your business and grow, even if you have a startup.
Oh yeah, Mikhail, I wanted to say something, and, and this is a joke. Mikhail,
I
can
can
you
hear
hear
you,
me?
yes.
Oh yeah, this is and this is to encourage everybody. Look, it's people, you're gonna get funded. Just bottom line, you get funded. It doesn't matter how many people tell you no or they can't. Don't listen to that. I'm gonna just tell you that. Do not listen. Don't ever listen to that. Every business gets funding as long as they can show three or four things, and part of that, that's what we can help you guys with too as well.
Absolutely.
So
Yeah,
you'll get funded. Don't get discouraged. And because me and Mikkel been through it, we raised money, then had money, lost money. We've been around, so we know. Especially like with me, Mikkel's learned that with me. I know it works for us. You know what I mean? I didn't listen to any of that telling you no, no, no. Because when I made up my mind to write a plan, and when everything took off for us on this entertainment side, we have too many people that want to fund.
Mm.
what we do is on a bigger scale, but it's still the same thing. And I'm gonna
Yeah.
say this to encourage everybody: with a simple enough plan, you'll get all of your money before you even go execute. And I use this example. It's like your kids are going on a field trip. They're telling you how much it costs to go on the trip, how much it costs for the food, how much it's going to cost for the souvenirs. It's the same thing with a business plan. You're going to give them that money. You're not going to send them on the trip, then after they come back, then pay for everything. So a business plan, a good one, will get you all of your funding up front. Then you go and execute. Well, in this case, then you go and enjoy the field trip. Hear where I'm coming from?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
You can't go to the field trip without paying the money and paying the money to entry, and then having money to buy the food. You can't go on the field trip and then pay all of that stuff after. You get where I'm coming from? And that's how a good business plan is. When it's really good, it lets the investor know, yeah, all they need is just this, and then they can go do A, B, C, D, and F. So yeah, so everybody, we'll leave. You can tell everybody that they're gonna get their funding. You just
Absolutely.
stick with it. You're gonna get funded. Everybody, every person listening or not listening. You have to know this because
Yes.
one of all the big successful companies had that in common. Somebody believed in it and they told enough people and asked and kept asking until people just said, yeah,
There you go. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And so for you all out there who's listening, please follow Carlos Joseph and follow myself, Michael Coleman, and share this link. Because there's someone in your in your circle, they need to hear this information. This could change your business, or someone else's business, or can change your life. So we're here to help. Please follow us. Please contact and reach out to either one of us, um, for your funding needs. We're here to help. So go to Moguling Capital. You can go follow us at Moguling Investment on Instagram. If you need funding, please submit us a DM, insert your contact information, and one of our representatives will reach out to you, and we will start helping you get funding for your business. And even what Carlos said, the aspect of structuring everything. If you need that service, we can help you with structuring your business plan, your summary, and get everything aligned. Alignment is so
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
alignment.
that's it right there.
Alignment is so important, and knowing your goals, um, your next level, where you want to go, your growth, your expansion, um, use of funds. We'll help you lay out everything you need to have in structure so that you can expand and grow your business to the next level.
Well, hey, Mikkel, look in the chat. I wrote this for everybody about, I think there was a young lady, she asked what was mentioned. So I wrote like the executive summary, pitch deck, business plan, and the financial projections. And 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 that's exactly it. I mean, that right there gets you funded without you even have to no credit. You got to fill out a bunch of, because that's basically what most people are going to look at. And we've got a proven track record, even with the business plan template and the pitch deck and executive summary. We just have something that we know work, especially the financial projections.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
And we said it one more time.
especially that.
What's
Yeah, go ahead.
just everything that's needed one more time for the people who are listening in before we close out?
Oh yeah, an executive summary, preferably anywhere from 2 to 4 pages. I think mine's 7, and then a pitch deck. Mikhail, you know about the pitch deck because you did one for yours. Remember, you could tell the people about that experience, and then the business plan, and then the financial projections.
Absolutely. So we got 4 things, ladies and gentlemen, who are out there. If you have a startup business or you're running your business, 4 things that you need in order to obtain funding that Carlo just mentioned: an
Well,
executive summary, pitch
yeah,
deck,
go ahead.
business plan, financial projections, and I'm gonna add the aspect of use of funds
Oh
too.
yeah, I forgot. Yeah, the use of fund. Well, in the business plan and the pitch deck is a use of funds. I just no. What I was going to tell you, Mikhail.
Uh huh.
Usually companies ask for they ask for the executive summary. The pitch deck is when, for everybody that's listening, is when you're going to do a pitch or a presentation in front of a bunch of investors, or an investors want to see something real quick. So
Hmm.
and then but the business plan has the financials in it and it has the use of funds in it. So executive summary and business plan, you can get away with just having those two. Now, the financial projections I had created for our company, since it was a much larger funding amount, yeah, those companies need to see a more in-depth financial plan. Like when you get money from an institutional investor, that's when you're getting funding over $1 billion. So I would say anything you need that's over $1 billion or over like, you know, a half a big, like 200-300 million dollars. You need to have that financial. But we have it in the financial and in the business plan template that we have. It's in there as well. But that financial, these five things that he listed, this eliminates you having to go to the bank or credit or having collateral and all that. Because if these are tight enough, you get the money every time.
Absolutely. Now that's Moguling right there. You're talking about billions. Venture capitalist Carlo Joseph and myself, Michael Coleman, we'll be talking about get funding for your business or your startup. We're here to help you all. So reach out to us. And we want to thank you all so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. And remember, moguling is what we do. And be relentless.